Alright, welcome to another video. Today we're doing a video response to dcrediah. It's a great channel that I've been subbed to for a few years. And a couple of years ago we posted a video called The 5 Worst Games in Your Collection. And I somehow completely missed out on that video. But I saw it recently because he posted a link to it in one of our Facebook groups we're in together. And I was like, hey, that's a great video. I'd like to do a response to that because it gives me an opportunity to talk about games that I normally wouldn't, plus I get to shout them out. So, you know, that's cool. And of course, I will throw a link to his channel down in the description. I can't talk. And I'll throw a card up here too, so go ahead and click the card to be taken to his channel. You know, watch a few videos, give him a sub, give him a few likes. Definitely. Anyways, let's begin. I got 5 games here, and yeah, they're all pretty crappy. So first game is Taboo for the NES. And what can I say about this one? Well, first of all, it's technically not a game. It's a fortune-telling app, I guess you would call it. But yeah, you ask a question, and then the computer lays out 14 cards, I think. And then they flip them over one by one, and there's a good chance that the answer from the card has absolutely nothing to do with your question. And, you know, that goes on until all the cards are flipped over. And while you're reading these the descriptions for these cards, you'll notice there is, like, a lot of, like, poor translations and everything. But yeah, after all the cards are flipped over, the game then asks you for a state. And looking at the list, there was no Wisconsin in it. I don't know why, because, you know, Wisconsin certainly existed back in the 1980s. But yeah, you choose your state, and then the game gives you your lucky numbers, and that is it. That's the entire game. You know, you can play it in like 3 minutes. And, you know, could you imagine being a kid and getting this as a Christmas gift? Probably like the worst Christmas ever. But yeah, this is terrible. Alrighty, and next one, we have a PlayStation 1 game called Too Extreme. And this one starts off really badly right away. You get to the main menu, and they have it set up like one of those annoying DVD menus where every option you pick has like a stupid animation to go with it, like just everything you select is a frickin' event. And, you know, it's really irritating. And then another problem is to select your character, it's really strange, like you go to the character select screen, and then you hit left or right to go to the character you want, but you don't hit like X to confirm it. You actually hit triangle to back out of the menu, and then you have to go down to another option to select race. It's weird. But you know, those are minor annoyances. Then you get to the actual racing, and you realize just how frustratingly difficult this game is. And a big reason for that is you're supposed to kind of like line up through these gates. And, you know, because they give you, like, power-ups and points and stuff. But the problem with that is, like, when you go through turns, the game kind of nudges you in that direction. So while you're sitting there trying to, like, you know, turn, like, the game's nudging you another way, and it's just really hard to get, like, lined up through the gates and everything. And, you know, even if you do, it's still, like, really hard to take first place. It's really hard to place at all, you know, besides, like, last place. But yeah, not a very fun game at all. It does have some okay, like, generic rock music, but other than that, you know, not worth playing at all. Alright, game number 3 is Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. And this was one of the games that almost destroyed the video game industry back in 1983. I know a lot of people hate this game, probably for that reason, but I actually kind of like it. But yeah, it's not very good, I admit that. You know, it looks nothing like the arcade game. The ghosts all flicker like crazy. As far as I know, there's only one maze, and yeah, it's just not very good at all. And they replaced the iconic like waka 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 sound with like this kind of metallic sounding dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's not very good, and I have like a giant red dot on here for some reason. But you know, I still like it, but I know a lot of people don't. Alright, next one is one that I just played recently. I actually was going to pick one of the Mary-Kate and Ashley games, but then I thought about it, I'm like, well, those are kind of marketed towards little girls, so I don't know if it'd really be fair for me to call it like the worst game, because it's a totally different audience. So I tried this game out, and yeah, it's as bad as people say. It's Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22, and like 2 Extreme, it has like a weird menu. Like in most fighting games, if you select Championship or Arcade mode, that's the main like story mode. In this one, it asks for a second player, so it's like some kind of like 2-player game. If you want to do like the story mode, you do 1 player versus computer, and yeah, that's really bizarre. And then you look at the back, and you might be like, oh wow, you get like 27 characters, awesome. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, that would be amazing. But then you play it, and it's like, the fighting is just, it's really kind of sluggish. There's not many combos that I could find. And like, the characters, they all look really nice. But the backgrounds are like incredibly simple. And this game actually came out in Japan in 1995, but wasn't ported over to the United States until like 2003. And you look at the backgrounds, and you're like, that would even be bad by like 1995 standards. Yeah, and it takes forever to get through this game. Like, most fighting games, it takes about, I don't know, like 10, 12 fights to get through the story mode. This one, you face off like against 21 other fighters, and it's just a grind. Oh, and plus you have to take down 2 life bars, so that makes it even longer, even though it's only like 1 match per, 1 round per match. It just takes forever, and it's not very fun, but yeah, that's game number 4. Alright, and the final game, and this one might piss people off, but it is Metroid Other M, and I really can't stand this game. What I love about the old Metroid games is like the sense of isolation and the atmosphere, and this game just completely discards that. Typically Samus, she's a badass bounty hunter, and in this game she's an emotional, whiny baby, and I can't stand it. On top of that, they gave her like just terrible voice acting. The voice actor, when she does like narration, it's just incredibly like there's no emotion to it at all. And and I get that they were trying to make her a bit more realistic, but the personality type they chose for her was just totally wrong. And then you get to the controls, and while I admit holding the Wiimote like an NES joypad is kind of cute, the game is just a little bit too complex for a control scheme like that. Plus, this is a 3D game, and controlling a 3D game with a D-pad just feels kind of awkward. And, that kind of thing is okay in like the PS1 and Saturn era, but for a 7th generation game, you should have analog movement. And why is there no classic controller support? It wouldn't have fixed the awful story, but it would have made the game a little bit more playable. But yeah, that'll do it. Please check out dcrediah. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I don't know if I said that earlier. But yeah, there's a link down in the description. He's got a great channel. Please go check him out. And yeah, that'll do it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.